kiddos, welcome back. Today we are going to read a Pinkalicious story. All right, let's do the parts of our book. The front cover, the back cover, upside down, the spine, the author and the illustrator, and then the story that we are going to read today is story time. So let's get started. All right. We were at a book fair waiting in line. I was going to meet my hero, Princess Plum. I have all of her books. Princess Plum is kind. She is smart. She grants magic wishes and wears a sparkly purple tiara. I love her stories. In my favorite one, she turns a little girl into a princess for a day. The girl even gets to wear Princess Plum's tiara. I wish I could be princess for a day, but meeting Princess Plum is almost as good. I hope she signs my book, I told Mommy, and lets me try on her tiara. I couldn't believe I was going to meet a real princess. At last. But when we got to the front of the line, I was very surprised. Instead of a princess, I saw a man. He had gray hair and a gray beard and no tiara at all. "Hello," he said. "Are you a fan of Princess Plum?" I nodded. "I want to be just like her," I said. "I always love meeting my friends," the man said. "Would you like me to sign your book?" I was very confused. "Is Princess Plum a man?" I said. "I'm Sid Silver," the man laughed. "I'm the author of Princess Plum. That means I write books about her." "You wrote all the books about her?" I asked. "Every single one," said Mr. Silver. "But how can you write about being a magic princess if you aren't one?" I asked. "When you're an author, you can tell all sorts of stories," said Mr. Silver. "Princess Plum is a character I made up. Stories can be about anyone or anything you want. Just use your imagination." That afternoon, I couldn't stop thinking about what Mr. Silver had said. I had a great imagination. I decided to give it a try. I imagined I could fly and wrote about soaring above Pinkville. Down below, the houses were a miniature and the cars looked like toys. In my story, I made the clouds into cotton candy. After that, I wrote about a tea party with dancing spoons and cups. I wrote about a garden growing under my bed. I wrote about a family of pirates that lived inside the washing machine. They sailed on a miniature boat and hunted for treasure in our laundry. What? Those are some really cool sounding books. I couldn't stop writing. At dinner time, I wrote about a broccoli jungle and a sweet potato mountains. At bedtime, I curled up under my blanket and wrote by the light of a flashlight. I wrote about a pair of bunny slippers hopping all over the house. They hopped from my closet into the living room and all the way out into the backyard. At school on Monday, I came up with more ideas. I wrote them all down. I was too busy to listen to my teacher, Miss Penny. There were so many stories to write. I was writing about a pink panda when Miss Penny tapped my shoulder. "Pinkalicious," she said. "What are you doing?" I gulped. I told Miss Penny everything about meeting the author, Sid Silver, and how he was the one who wrote the stories about Princess Plum. Then I told her I'd been writing my own stories all day long. "I'm sorry for not paying attention," I said. "Well," said Miss Penny, "paying attention is very important, but so is being creative. I think I have an idea." I wonder what she's going to tell Pinkalicious. "Listen, everybody," said Miss Penny. "This week you are all going to be authors. We will have special writing time so you can work on your stories. And on Friday, we'll have our own class book festival." I was so excited. I was going to be a real author just like Sid Silver. At recess, we talked about our ideas. "I'm writing about a penguin named Percy," said Molly. I'm writing about a family of giants who live in the rainforest, said Rose. Allison's book was the biggest surprise. I didn't have any words. She was making a comic book story with only pictures. That sounds so cool, huh, guys? All the different stories. We worked hard all week. I finished the story about flying through the cotton candy clouds. In the story, I flew up above the trees, higher than the butterflies, alongside the birds. I flew faster and faster. The clouds were soft against my arms. I drew the cover and added about the author. Page. Pinkalicious is from Pinkville, I wrote. She loves writing, baking cupcakes, and anything pink. Of course, anything pink. On Friday, we read our stories out loud. Allison went first. I read my story next. I loved listening to my classmates' stories. They were all very different. Who knew we had such great imaginations in our class, said Miss Penny. We signed our books just like Mr. Silver had done. I felt like a real author. It was so much fun. I loved your story, Pinkalicious, said Allison. I want to hear it again, said Rose. So I read my story one more time for my friends. Before I went home, I told Miss Penny I had one last thing to write. And she wrote a little note. It says, Dear Mr. Silver, you may not be a princess who grants wishes, but your books are full of magic. Thank you for helping me see that I am a writer too. Signed, Pinkalicious. That was very kind of her to write him a note. All right, guys, that's the end of this book. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!